Hello everyone and welcome back to another Train Sim World 5 video. Today we are back on my favourite route of all time, Just Trains' West Coast Main Line, Preston to Carlisle route. And we are at Carlisle Citadel Station and we are heading down to Carlisle, all stops in the Class 87. We have managed to cop the only 87 in the entire fleet, in TSW fleet, without a nameplate, 87012. And yeah, basically the route got a huge update recently. You can find the entire changelog on the Dovetail forums, but the major thing that was added is bunch of new InterCity liveries for the 87. I think like 5 new variations of the InterCity livery. This is the InterCity 3 livery, so it's got the very unusual like British Rail like black logo, which is very unusual. So yeah, let's I just want to find out what this train up here is that's just leaving. I just want to have a bit of a look around before we get started today. I imagine it's probably a Class 87. I can see a pantograph from here. It's got the rake of Mark IIs. It's got a luggage van and a guards van at the front, which is unusual, I must say. It's 87026, Sir Richard Arkwright. Right. So yeah, let's get started. Class 87, right. Unlock the doors, we can do that immediately. Master key, on, reverser, forward, locomotive brake, full, train brake, release. Let's see, is there any other setup that I have to do on this panel? Basically what this update was for is to prepare the route for the upcoming Class 86 DLC, which I'm very much looking forward to. The 86 is my favourite British train of all time, so I cannot wait. Fire alarm test. That appears to be working. Let's go in the engine room and flip the DSD on. There we go. Check that the urinal appears to be in functioning order, which it does. Alright, we've got 1 minute until we're supposed to go. So let's have a bit of a looky around Carlisle Citadel. So we've got a rake of Mark IIIs attached on the back. I hear an engine running. There's a train here with it's producing the sound like a train is here, but there isn't. What? I've never seen that before. There's an 08 number 402 over here. Oh, I just crashed into a van, and we've got a couple of 87s over here. 87027 Wolf of Badenoch. And 87009 City of Birmingham. And we've got a 47 over here. Oh, University of Nottingham 47444. Nice. Alright, let's lock the doors. Oh, wrong button. That's the button. Alright, next stop, Penrith. In 17 miles. So our stops for today are Penrith, Oxenholme, Lancaster, and Preston. All stops. We're not stopping at Carlisle because the high-speed platforms there were actually removed in the 60s, sometime in the mid-60s. We do need to gain as much speed as possible because just after this bridge up here, there is a there's a neutral zone. So neutral section, I should say. Neutral zone. I'm thinking of Star Trek and the Romulans. Holy moly! What have I've been watching too much Star Trek recently. All right. This run is using all safety systems. As you can tell, DSD and AWS are on. And neutral section, not too long. Let's look for the sign. Shut it down. We have to shut it down before a neutral section. I see the sign. Yeah, there it is. There's the start of the neutral section. The neutral sections on this route always catch me out. Like, I'm just waltzing along cheerfully, and then, oh, my power's gone. This route does feature quite a few neutral sections, surprisingly. Okay. They've also made like a ton of updates to the 87 in general, and I think one of the other major things that we've gotten is the addition of excavators at Carlisle, at somewhere around. Can't remember where. I think at like the major quarries. Let's have a look at this yard over here. I think it's Upper B. So not too much stuff around. Looks like an 08 and a 47 and some coaching stock. Come on, let me go. Do I have to press the... See if that worked. Yes, there we go. That was the problem. Let's give it full beans. Let's get out of here. We're on a tight schedule today. The West Coast mainline trains don't wait for no one. Oh, hello. Looks as though there's a train with some TEA tankers over here. That's a layer from Blackpool branches, I believe. The TEA tankers are for doing the run-up to Bernays, the ICI plant, normally. Looks like we've got a 47. Oh, number 464 on duty. And I think he's probably waiting for me. Come on, buddy. Let's go. It's been a hot minute since I drove the 87 on the channel. I've been I think I've been focusing a lot more on the German stuff for this game, if I'm being honest. Especially the stuff made by trains in Germany. However, I have been driving the 87 quite a bit off camera. Right. 15 miles to Penrith. We have 10 minutes to do 15 miles. I think I could give it maximum notches without it overloading. Yeah, there we go. We're at full throttle. My goodness, I forgot how much the 87 rocks from side to side. Goodness gracious. One thing about Preston to Carlisle, which I don't like, is the stuttering. I know that's a core thing with TSW, but I just wish that there wasn't as much stuttering. But that is a TSW issue, so hey, sometimes that's just a game thing. I don't think we'll be able to get up to our top speed of 110 until after we're past Carnforth. Oh yeah, we're booking it right now. That's 82 miles an hour. Oh, does it sound nicer? Yeah, it sounds a bit nicer if you open the windows. There's the M6 motorway. Oh, no, I just turned it off. No, come on! Ah, oh, you can tell I haven't... Oh, come on. No, no, no. No, no, no. At least we'll slow down in time for that 85 limit coming into force. We are losing speed, but not that much. I just love the details on this route, man. Like the route is like so mind-bogglingly detailed. I'm still discovering things, even what, 6 months after this route's release? It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Like, I don't think there's as detailed a route that can be compared to this, just in terms of like details, signal boxes, station interiors. Not even like the behemoths of Blackpool branches, Nidatalbahn or Mittenwaldbahn. There we go, we are back to full throttle and we can start getting back up to line speed. Full speed ahead. Okay, actually no, we're getting up to 110 right now. My apologies, viewers. We've covered 4 miles in 3 minutes. This is going to be close. We are on a constant 0.5% grade, which is not helping. Trouble is I can't trigger announcements from inside the cab. I can only trigger announcements from inside the guard's van when doing conductor mode. Most of the motor sounds and exterior sounds, etc., are actually done by Armstrong Powerhouse, who made made a dedicated Class 87 pack for TS Classic. And Armstrong Powerhouse really lives up to his reputation with these absolutely amazing sounds. It sounds just like the real thing. So, one interesting thing is we seem to have a guard's van at the front of the train rather than the back of the train. Also, another thing which is really cool is all of the default stock that comes with the route and that layers in for Blackpool branches, it all has dynamic suspension, which is crazy. Like, that is just like so cool how everything has dynamic suspension. .104 miles an hour, speed increasing. If you want a route which focuses on one of England's 2 major coastlines, the East Coast Main Line or the West Coast Main Line, you could do no better than getting this route. The Dovetail's West Coast Main Line South route set in the modern day that goes from Euston to Milton Keynes. Mind you, it's mediocre in its default state, but it does have 2 huge timetable mods and a gigantic enhancement pack, which does help. And then the East Coast Main Line Peterborough to Doncaster route is absolutely atrocious. It doesn't even like. Even the sounds of the Class 801 are off of a Class 377 Electrostar, and they sound nothing like each other in real life. Though, mind you, there is a sound mod for the lucky people on PC but all the people on console are stuck with the terrible default sound. 6.2 miles to go, in 3.5 minutes. $107 miles an hour. Notch down. To try and level off our speed. The tap changer is very finicky, but once you're used to it, it's not bad. Crossing loop. Okay, my camera's having trouble keeping up. My goodness, my drone camera's having trouble. Another thing which could be improved is that all of the animal models are static. I know it's a small thing, but Trains of Germany made animated cows for the Mittenwaldbahn, so surely it's not too much to ask to ask Trains of Germany just to send over those models. That'd be pretty cool, honestly, if we could have that. 3.3 miles in 2 minutes. 2 miles out, I'm going to cut the power, and 1.5 miles out, I'm going to start braking. It looks as though we do have an 80-mile-an-hour limit through Penrith. Alright. Alright, cutting power. Alright, let's start the brakes. Start first application. Dynamic brakes online. Sometimes that's a really spooky sound the dynamic brakes are making. Listen to that! Uh-oh. I don't know if we're going to slow down in time. Full locomotive brakes. Okay, I think we are going to slow down in time. Thank goodness. That was a bit risky. We are actually late, surprisingly. Yeah, I didn't just want to do an end-to-end run with no station stops because that's boring. I wanted to do I wanted to do a run where we actually stop at some places and actually get to admire the scenery. Welcome to Penrith, everybody. Glad. Apparently Penrith is actually a good place for train spotting, obviously, because it's on the WCML, but yeah. Alright, we're a minute late, but don't overrun. Oh crap. No! Everything's still on the platform. We're fine. We're fine. Alright, let the brakes recharge. Okay, we're actually only here for a minute, so I'll just look around at the drone camera. I do love the Mark IIIs that we get with this route, because we already had Mark IIIs with the two with Great Western Express and Minden Main Line, but these are actually Mark IIIs with buffers, so they can be coupled to locomotives rather than just HST power cars like the original Mark IIIs. Yeah, the stations are just so detailed. Let's give it the beans. Please. Uh-oh. Next stop, Oxenholme in 25 miles. This is the longest gap between stations on the route. Uh-oh! We're in overload territory. Oh, I didn't trip the circuit breaker. That's the closest I've ever come to tripping the circuit breaker. That was my mistake. Alright. And it's not 25 miles in a straight line either. It's wiggling all over the place. Because we have to go through the lake. We have to go through the... go through the Lake District. Alright. We're limited to 85 miles an hour. No, 80 miles an hour. Haven't seen any other traffic on the route yet. Wonder... Sometimes the West Coast Main Line can actually feel pretty quiet, despite it being a major railway line. Also, another thing I like about this route, look at that! Actual, like, genuine road signs. I know it's a bit blurry from this far away, but yeah, you can definitely tell. This little viaduct right here. At 60 miles an hour. This is by far the longest UK route in the game, and the second longest in the game overall. And in terms of quality, I think it's totally unbeatable. Like, absolute... The devs did such a superb job that I think it's more than worth it to pay full price for this route, 100%. And it's one of the very, very, very few routes about which I'd say that. The other three routes about which I'd say that would be the Mittenwaldbahn, Niddertalbahn, and Blackpool branches. Other than that, no, not worth it. Not... Where you can go up to 100 miles an hour. Oh, there's the M6 again. Other than the Class 86, there's one other method of transport that I would like to see made for this route. The Advanced Passenger Train, which is like a tilting electric train capable of 140 miles an hour, which This route is set in 1986. The APT was actually still in service at the time, though very close to a very early and disgraced retirement. If we could get the APT on this route, made by Just Trains no less, that'd be awesome. That's such an interesting and unusual method of transport. I know it's a bit ugly, but hey, one can't have everything. Like, if we could, but I do have suspicions about Just Trains' next route, and I think Just Trains' next route is going to be the West Highland lines of Scotland. And you might be like, how do you know? Why do you think that? Well, 87014 Night of the Thistle. Okay. What you might be like? Oh, why do you think that? There's been nothing to suggest that. And I've been like, well, yeah, there is. The rail tour posters collectible posters on this route suggest the West Highland lines as where that rail tour is going. Also, for the Black Bull Branches Class 142 Pacer Guard mode, the off-map locations in the tickets suggest the West Highland line. Oh, now I have to run her up all again. Oh no. Well, we're at the limit anyway. Alright, I think we'll be restricted to 80 miles an hour for a bit. One thing also which does give me hope about the future is that the Class 86 looks absolutely phenomenal. Just Trains have absolutely knocked it out of the park once again with their quality. It's going to cost £20 full price, which I know is a bit steep for a Loco add-on, don't get me wrong, but I think the quality is just so good that I think it'll be totally worth it. Also, from the first trailer that we got of the Class 86, it looks as though sounds as though it'll have Armstrong Powerhouse sounds once again, which also gives me hope because Armstrong Powerhouse are top of their game. That was one of the Armstrong Powerhouse sounds were one of the things that saved Skyhook's Midland Mainline from total disaster, because the VP185 sounds on the HST were much needed, shall we say. There's the M6 motorway again. How much farther to... Okay, we're coming up to Harrison Sidings. Sorry about that dog barking in the background. If you can hear that, that's probably one of my neighbor's dogs being annoying. Ugh. Oh man, I forgot how much I loved this route. I've actually been running some of the Class 87 rail tours on Track Simulations 2019 timetable, and running it there. I forgot how good this, truly great this route was. I forgot just how, like, jaw-droppingly good this route is. There's the Harrison Sidings branch. Don't think you get to go down there in timetable mode. You can travel to it, but yeah. Which means we're not too far away from Hardendale Quarry here and Shap Summit. Which means we'll start heading downhill. Lovely. 16 miles to Oxenholme, but bear in mind we do have to go a fair ways out of the way in order to get there. And it looks as though we'll have to slow down in a minute anyway. 90 limit coming into force relatively soon. Wow, I didn't notice that 87 until it was too late. So I don't know which one it was. There's the... oh goodness. No! Oh, for goodness sake, why did I switch it off? No! Not again. There's Hardendale Quarry off to our left, where I think we did our last video. There's the Hardendale sightings. Runner up again. At least we got down below the limit before it was too late. Alright, so it looks as though after Shap Summit we go from 90 to 105. This thing does not have a dynamic brake, like the separate dynamic brake, I should say. The dynamic brake's actually incorporated into the train itself. There's some seat turbot wagons off of West Cornwall Local. There's the quarry, and where is it? There it is! Shap Summit, ladies and gentlemen, which means I need to shut this down ASAP. It's downhill from here all the way to Hess Bank. Full... okay. Yeah. This will just be a case of brake management until we get to Hess Bank, because Hess Bank is actually the lowest point on the entire WCML. It's actually the only point on the entire WCML where you can actually see the sea, despite this being called the West Coast Main Line. Despite the coast only appearing for like 20 seconds if you're running at line speed, which is a bit ridiculous, mind you. Right. Sheep. Hundred and 1 miles an hour. Doesn't look like local brake's enough. I'll just turn it off. No point having it on if it doesn't work. Look at the scenery! Whoa! The Lake District is so beautiful. I see why people come here for holidays. Holy! What an absolutely beautiful place to build a railway through. I'm going to be brutally honest. Like, they probably did the chaps who originally built this railway probably built it through here specifically because of gradient reasons, but man, they absolutely. There's the M6 again. This scenery is just like. Man, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. 10 miles to Oxenholme. I think this is T-Bay, isn't it? Yeah, this is T-Bay. So yeah, it's 10 miles in that line, but I think we actually might have like 13 miles. Full loco brake. Anything above 1% is not really manageable by the loco brake. You have to start using the train brake then. What absolutely beautiful scenery. Running around. I know I've kept the throttle on, the tap changer, whatever. So yeah, after Oxenholme, our stops are Lancaster and Preston. Just under 5 miles to Oxenholme, but that's in a straight line. We probably have more like 6. Oh man, running the 87 is just such a joy. This little viaduct right here. Actually, no, that I missed by chance for a good shot, man. I'll probably do one at Hess Bank, honestly, if I remember. I can't ask you to remind me in the comments because by the time you watch this, I'll have already posted the video, so the entire video. So you're technically in my future, which is slightly confusing. Okay, we can go up to 90 in a minute. I also have to remember, I'll need to slow down for Oxenholme on a downward grade, so I will have to keep... Is that the sea? In the far distance. Very hard to tell. Maybe. That was another 87, I think. We're actually, we might get to Oxenholme on time. We left on time from Oxenholme despite the odds. So maybe? Who knows? At 2 miles, I'll put the loco brake on. Full onto the loco brake. There's Oxenholme town itself off to our right. Yeah, I think we might actually get there on time. Oxenholme, Oxenholme. One thing I do like is that they actually added wires to the overhead electricity lines, which is so cool because Rivet Games didn't bother to do that on the 5 Circle or Bronina lines, which is, yeah. Look at break off. I think. not cab light, for goodness sake. I think I actually slowed down a bit too early. One thing I also wish they had done was the branches to here, which I can't remember the name of, and Windermere from Oxford, which would have been so cool. There's a 101 heading to Windermere. Yeah, we're slightly late, but hey, it is how it is. Need to remember that the brakes take longer to react, for goodness sake. Alright, welcome to Oxenholme, everybody. We're here for the next minute and a half. You're heading on the Windermere branch, aren't you? I do like the 101 that's included with this route. It has a ton of improvements like dynamic suspension, a retextured interior. Wonder... They laid the track to Windermere. Wonder if they're ever going to add it to the route. We're supposed to be at Lancaster in 16 minutes and Preston in 40. At least you should be able to get up to speed quicker since we're on a downhill grade. Next stop, Lancaster in 18 miles. Alright, we're clear up to 100 miles an hour. Oh, and that's a neutral zone. Yeah, you see it. You don't pay attention and that happens. Oh dear. At least our speed is still increasing. I'll probably have to hit the overload reset button. I always forget where neutral zones are, man. There's the M6 again. We're clear up to 110. We are about 5 miles from Carnforth, about 7 from Hest Bank, and 12 from Lancaster. 7.5 miles to Lancaster. We haven't even got to Carnforth yet. Wow, we are absolutely booking it right now. We are absolutely booking it. I wonder where that track goes. Oh, that's the branch to Carnforth. Oh, that means I need to get out of the train like right now and start using the drone camera, because I know we're losing speed, but it doesn't matter. This is a very good train spotting spot. There goes Carnforth. There's a Rivet 37, Rail Freight Grade 37. Which means we're very close to Hess Bank, and no chat, I have not forgotten. Just under 5 miles to Lancaster. Absolutely booking it. Oh, that was a 101. I forgot, now that we're past Carnforth, we can now start seeing local stuff running around as well. Forgot about that. 5 minutes to do, 4.5 minutes, sorry, to do 3 miles. Here we go, Hess Bank. There's the signal box. And now. Ah, there's trees in the way. Maybe if I can advance game time, can't I? Yeah, I can. Okay, there we go. I know the sounds go a bit weird, but there you go. Ah, there's a bloody plant in the way. Okay, that looks... Ooh, that is pretty nice. That's a field. Let's decrease that. Come on. Field of view is already good. Let's turn motion blur up to full. And take the shot. Uh-oh, we have a red signal coming up. So, turn her off. Local brake. There's the branch line to Morecambe. My goodness, why is my frame rate so low? Why does there have to be a red signal? Is there someone in the way? Let's have a look. There's someone in the way. No. Unless this... Yeah, that guy's not going to go in front of me, so I don't get it. Oh, wrong button. This is annoying, man. Why? Just why? I see it. Better safe than sorry. Oh! You've got to be kidding me. Why did it change just then? Ugh. Let's get it. Okay, it's AWS. Coming across the bridge into North Lancaster. Look at that. What a view! Whoa! What a view. You can actually spawn in free roam right there, just below the stairs, and go on the bridge and have a bit of a looky around. Can't believe it. Why is that signal red? There's a 101, and there's another 101 over there. I haven't seen any paces yet. I'm so disappointed. Car 101 presumably heading to Morecambe or Carnforth. Yeah, it's the one to Morecambe. My goodness, my frame rate is suffering and I don't know why. We do have a red signal. Yes, almost a perfect stop. That's what I'm talking about. Nope, wrong brake. That's the brake. Oh, hello, there's a train coming. Wonder where he's going. He is going to... Painted to Glasgow. Interesting. Didn't realize painting really needed a service like that. Alright, nearly 4 p.m. Just one stop left to go. Mostly flat, so... Nah. One minute till we need to leave. I imagine there's a train behind me that has gotten a... that needs to have the green... that needs to have a signal. No. Looking as far as Carnforth, there are no trains. Barrow, Leeds, Millom. "30 seconds. We are at a bit of an upward grade. Actually, no, I should probably keep the local brake on until we are clear to go. Next and final stop of the day, Preston in 21 miles. Preston. We are only clear up to 10 miles an hour though, so... Goodness. This is painful. 20 minutes to do 21 miles. Yeah, I can do that. Goodness, my frame rate. Holy. We are on a pretty steep grade coming out of Lancaster, which I had honestly forgotten about. going full throttle. It's 100 miles an hour. There we go. 17 miles to run. Oh man, we are booking it right now. Absolutely booking it. I could just nudge it down enough to hold my speed. "13 miles to run." Whoa! The whole train just rocked from side to side. Viaduct, noise. I've got it set on the perfect notch. The Preston to Lancaster section is probably the most boring bit of the route for me because there's not really anything to do. There aren't any like steep grades or speed limit changes. It's just Zooming along at 110. Just waiting to get to the next stop. Oh, there's another train. I want to see which one that is. Let's see. Okay, it's an 87. Right. It is... Let's turn motion blur off. This is making me dizzy. County of Cheshire. 87025. With a ton of Mark IIs on the back. Ah, neutral section. Why? Overload reset. I have to wait for it to notch down all the way. At least we're not losing too much speed. 8.7 miles to run, and I hit a neutral section. It's runner up. Back to notch 23, I think it was. Seven and a half miles to Preston. Yeah, we've covered the vast majority of the route. Vast. Six miles to go. I think that was the M6 again. No, it's just a road. That's right. 5.5 miles to go. So yeah, all we have to do is get to Preston and unload the passengers. Four miles to go. "17 frames a second. This is ridiculous. It's like watching a slideshow. Alright, shutting her down. 2.9 miles to go. 1.6 miles to Preston. There's St. Walburg's Church. That's the sign that we're getting pretty close. My goodness, my frame rate. Oh, GMPT Pacer off to the right. And another GMPT Pacer heading off to Blackpool. Oh yeah. Here we go. Coming into Preston after an uneventful trip, except for the frame rate. Oh my goodness, the frame rate, that's 14 frames. Holy moly. No. Oh, that was close. That was so close. Oh. Whoa. My goodness gracious. That is the closest I've ever come to running a red signal in my life. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I thought everything was done. I thought we were done for, honestly. Yes, platinum medal. So how many points in total was that? Does it tell me the total number of points? Oh, never mind. So yeah, that'll be all for this video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one. I just noticed I was 5 minutes early to Preston. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.